Students of ninth class, in the third part, let us discuss the golden age of Indian culture during the Gupta period. It is also described the golden age because of its high level of civilization and culture of this period. And along with the revival of Hinduism, the power of creativity was unleashed. That means there was a widespread of new creativity in education, in literature, art, architecture, and science. It's given there in the field of education, literature, art, architecture, science, and so on. First, we shall discuss education. So, there is evident from the intellectual output in various fields like literature, science, mathematics, astronomy, astrology, and medicine that education was given most importance. There were many centers of learning in cities like Patliputra, Vallabhi, Ujjain, Ajodhya, and Nasik. And according to the inscriptions, the teachers were learned Brahmins who were known as acharyas. These teachers were supported by the grant of villages called the grahas given by the Gupta rulers and the charity given by the generous public, that means rich people, merchants, and all that. The disciples called Shishya had to learn 14 sections of science comprising the four Vedas. Okay, and besides Vyakarana and the Shastri, Samhita, the Mahabharata, these things also were they were asked to learn. So in the Gupta period, the Jain and Buddhist system of education assumed a different dimensions. Buddhist monasteries admitted students for 10 years. Learning began the oral method. Later, they shifted to the reading of literary texts. The monastery had a library. Important manuscripts were copied and stored. Students from other countries like China, Southeast Asia came to the Buddhist monasteries for education. Higher education was given equal importance during the Gupta age, as is evident from the number of universities which existed during this period. The two popular universities were Takshila and Nalanda. So let us learn about Nalanda University. It was the most renowned educational institution of ancient India. It was located at Nalanda in Rajgraha in Bihar. A lot of information about the Nalanda University is given in the inscription and accounts of Yunsan, a Chinese pilgrim. The University of Nalanda had imposing buildings. There were at least 8 colleges built by different patrons, including one by Balaputra Deva, king of Sumutra. Patron means those who morally support, financially and morally support the association. The Nalanda University provided various facilities to the students for their studies. These were 3 great libraries. There were more than 10,000 students and teachers. They came from Korea, Mongolia, Japan, China, Tibet, Ceylon, and various parts of India. The subjects of the study in Nalanda University were all the 4 Vedas, logic, grammar, medicine, Sankhya, yoga, Nyaya, and the Buddhist works of the different scholars. Nalanda University was not an ordinary university, it was a postgraduate institution to which admission was very difficult. Okay, before admission, an examination was held in which hardly 20% students passed. Now, Let's learn about science. During the Gupta period, great contributions were made in many branches of science like astronomy, medicine, metallurgy, etc. A great astronomer, Varamihira was a great astronomer. He proved that the moon rotates around the earth and the earth rotates around the sun. Then, we are mostly concerned with the Aryabhatta. He was a great astronomer and mathematician. He flourished during the reign of Gupta dynasty. His two famous books include Aryabhatyam, Surya Siddhanta. His main achievements were he said that the earth moves around the sun. He discovered the rule for finding area of triangle. He calculated the exact value of pi, which was equal to 3.1416. The credit for development of trigonometry should actually go to him. In his work Surya Siddhanta, he explained the exact cause of solar and lunar eclipse. Culture. The Gupta Empire was well organized and was under a succession of versatile and mighty rulers who led it from one point of achievements to the another. There was political stability and trade and commerce flourished. This economic prosperity allowed people to pursue various art and crafts and literary activities. Thus, the ideal condition available in the Gupta age led to the unprecedented development to Indian culture. So, we will mainly focus on Vishnu temple at Diogad. The Vishnu temple also called the Dashvatara temple is one of the finest example of Gupta architecture. It is about 125 km from Jhansi in Uttar Pradesh. It is one of the earliest Hindu stone temple to survive till date. It was the first North Indian temple with the shikhara or two tower, although a part of it has disappeared. In spite of its dilapidated condition, dilapidated means the condition is a bit bad. The temple has a compelling presence. It was completely made of stones and bricks. The temple was built on a 1.5 meters high platform. 4 stairways outside the platform provide access to the temple. Its exterior is decorated with scenes from Ramayana. The entrance and pillars were adorned with countless paintings and carvings, and it's dedicated to Lord Vishnu, the god of preservation. Now we shall move to the next concept, that is literature. The Gupta age constitutes an important phase as the history of Sanskrit literature. It replaced Prakrit not only in inscription but also in religious and philosophical literature. Sanskrit became the language of learned and retained its supreme position for thousands of years, and Guptas made Sanskrit official language for administrative purpose also. So we will focus on the great poet who is also known as a Shakespeare of India, Kalidasa. Kalidas is regarded as the greatest poet and playwright India has ever produced. So, Vincent has rightfully compared the Gupta age with Elizabethan period in the history of England. According to him, in India all the lesser lights are outshone by the brilliance of Kalidasa, as in England all the smaller authors are overshadowed by Shakespeare's. His 4 poetic works are Ritusamhara, Raghuvansa, Meghaduta and Kumara Sambhava. The 3 dramatic works of Kalidasa were Vikram Malavikramitram, and Abhijanaskuntalam. His dramatic work narrates the love story of King Dushanta and Shakuntala, whose son Bharata later became the ruler. The Meghaduta is equally an outstanding lyrical poetic work. Although the subject matter of Kalidasa works is love, nature and beauty, they nevertheless give reliable information about the government, society, religion of the Gupta period. So students, that's all from this chapter. So you can discuss or you can solve the question answers, short questions and long questions. If you have any problem finding the answers, let me know. Okay, we shall discuss in the Zoom classes. Thank you.